Early employment experience can help youth to develop important skills and connections that they can continue to use in adulthood. In fact, work experience as an adolescent is associated with better labor and wage outcomes in the future. Unfortunately, low-income youth often face more barriers to finding a job than higher-income peers. The overall likelihood of youth unemployment typically increases as household income decreases. In the past decade, federal and local policymakers have increasingly focused on using summer youth employment programs to help primarily low-income youth overcome barriers to accessing jobs and find constructive ways to spend their free time while out of school. J-PAL-affiliated researchers have conducted randomized evaluations in 4 major U.S. cities to understand the impacts of summer youth employment programs. Evidence suggests that these programs can support youth experiencing poverty to achieve their full potential as adults in multiple ways. Program participation can affect not only employment and earnings, but also outcomes in education, safety, and involvement with the criminal justice system.
The findings from summer youth employment programs during and after the summer are that during the summer, the programs provide access to jobs that youth otherwise would not have. So when youth get lotteried into the summer youth employment programs, they're significantly more likely to have a job that summer. The likelihood they have a job if they're lotteried in is 80 to 100%, whereas the probability they have a job if they don't get lotteried in is closer to 20 or 30%. And so that's a big impact on labor market access. One of the policy implications of these findings is that summer jobs programs are very good at transferring money to low-income youth and their families, because giving someone a job in that summer, giving them the opportunity to earn money, that's a direct benefit that they get. And the youth who participate in these programs are typically lower income and often non-white, and there might be lots of benefits to transferring funds to those groups.
How do SYEPs affect crime? Well, summer jobs programs consistently reduce involvement in the criminal justice system for at least a year. Now, you might think that this is just a product of keeping young people busy during the summer, but in fact, the crime decline lasts beyond the end of the summer. And so young people are taking something with them after the summer that changes their behavior. Now, that might be improved social, emotional, and self-regulation skills. It might be changes in peer groups or time use, or just the income itself from the summer. When we think about broader policy implications of the findings on SYEPs, if you think about policymakers who are in search of ways to help keep young people safe, there are very few other programs that so consistently improve physical safety and reduce contact with the criminal justice system. And so SYEPs as a set of programs represents a potentially pretty useful addition to policy portfolios.
We really don't find a lot of evidence that there's an improvement in labor market outcomes after the program ends. Yet the evidence on how summer youth employment programs affect educational outcomes has been more mixed. There is emerging evidence in Boston that the program does have a positive impact on on-time high school graduation on the order of about 4 percentage points or 7% improvement. And these improvements in on-time high school graduation are linked to some of these shorter-term outcomes, such as improvements in attendance, as well as increases in aspirations to attend college and improvements in work habits, such as showing up on time.
As additional summer youth employment programs are rolled out across the country, researchers hope to continue studying program impacts and explore key remaining research questions.
One exciting area of future research is thinking about how we can improve summer youth employment programs to provide longer-term impacts on youth outcomes in the labor market. And one of the things that we're working on, this is joint work with Sarah Heller, is exploring the impacts of letters of recommendation by the supervisors that oversaw the youth to see if those letters can have impacts on the youth's earnings and employment in the future.
Summer youth employment programs allow us to successfully leverage the connections between community organizations and businesses to better serve youth and provide them with developmental opportunities, not only during the summer, but also to help them achieve success later in life. To learn more about summer youth employment programs and how they can affect a range of youth outcomes, see J-PAL North America's Evidence Review, The Promises of Summer Youth Employment Programs, Lessons from Randomized Evaluations.